Hey, comic book fans, it's finally here. IDW Star Trek Red Shirts. Even if you can't tell a Star Trek from a Star War, I'm almost certain that you've heard about the plight of the Red Shirts. Those poor souls that work in Starfleet's security division and are known for their red colored uniforms found themselves being the disposable fodder in the 1966 Star Trek TV version, where each episode had plenty of William Shatner hamming it up each scene, and usually more than one red shirt seeing their demise.
Immediately. Kirk out. Captain, I see something! A Klingon! Grant, no! That way! I never saw anything like... Marvel! Captain.
Kirk here.
Captain. Strange clouds hurt. Cloud. Cloud. What?
Dead. The man is dead.
Much like the animated Star Trek Lower Decks, this comic, Red Shirts, is going to take a closer look at the oftentimes overlooked members of a starship's frontline defenders, those red shirts. The issue opens on the planet Neral in 2266, where we're dramatically introduced to Ensign Chip Miller, 6 months out of the Academy and on his very first away mission, which goes about as well as to be expected for a member of the Red Shirts. After his attack, we see Commodore Decker. No confirmation on if it's that Commodore Decker, and the ship's doctor explaining that despite the scarring and pigmentation lost to his eye, Ensign Miller luckily received no vision loss. It's here that we also find out that Miller was a member of a team who was hunted and attacked for 8 days on the planet, and that Miller himself is the only survivor. Let it never be said that red shirts aren't tough. Miller begins to thank his luck for landing the assignment, as we're presented with a montage of various ways that other security comrades have been dispatched. We're then introduced to a legend among the red shirts, a man who has made it over the age of 30 in the profession. Here we find Lieutenant Webster Cromartie, a grizzled veteran of the Klingon War, on an assignment to find out who's spying on the Federation from a remote wind data array in the Arconia system. After some back and forth with the chief security officer of the USS Warren, one Lieutenant Midge DeMaterio, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, she tells Cromartie he is to bait a trap for the unknown spy, that a security team is already en route to join him, and that Midge herself is coming along. Cut to the roar of some big creature on the planet who Cromartie refers to as Johnny Boy, a reptile-mammal hybrid with arachnid qualities. We're never shown this creature in this issue, but I can only imagine there's going to be a major showdown coming soon. We also learn that Cromartie has been alone on this planet for 9 months, which is of course going to play into his current state of mind moving forward. Back aboard the Warren, we see the security team preparing to depart on their mission. Miller is chatting with Lieutenant Amiga and Ensign Duntley about his injury and his new scar. After some friendly banter, Lieutenant DeMatrio, I hope that's right, begins the mission brief for what they're calling Operation Squawk Box. She gives her version of a Phil Jackson speech, explaining that the team has been handpicked and that only this division in Starfleet could possibly complete this mission. That division, of course, being security, the Red Shirts. You know, it was the usual rah-rah stuff that superior officers peddle. The plan is simple: leaving some enticing bait on the array for whomever's spying on the Federation, have the USS Warren destroy the antenna, thus stopping the flow of enticing information, which will hopefully force whomever is behind the espionage to investigate why their gerbil feeder of information is stopped, only for them to arrive and find the security team in waiting to pounce and apprehend them. But with spies monitoring the planet, how are they going to actually make it down? Because transporting is not an option, one of them asks. Ha! Cut to the team strapped inside torpedo casings, as their way down to the planet is to be fired via the torpedo launcher of the USS Warren, while Cromartie on the planet transports them out just before the torpedo impacts on the planet. Easy, right? Well, of course, things go awry, and unfortunately, 2 members don't make it, despite how hyped at least one of them was for the whole maneuver. And as the rest of the crew step off the transporter pad, sparks begins to fly as one member, Zachary, blames his comrade's deaths on Cromartie. Cromartie starts to spiral about how the Federation is using them, and he thinks this is some sort of whole conspiracy. Then the USS Warren makes their departure, and the team is effectively marooned, with one member giving them a 41% chance of survival. This issue ends as we see Ensign Miller muse about how this is much like his first mission, minus the Mugatu. We're then given a glimpse of a conversation happening elsewhere in space. The spies know that the Federation is setting a trap, and the commander plans to get the data regardless, as we are given the unmistakable form of a decloaking Romulan warbird, and the commander who demands his prize. I gotta tell you, as a Star Trek fan, I am so excited for this series. I'm a huge fan of the original series, for one, and I'm happy to see that the Red Shirts are getting their day to give us a real glimpse of the men and women who, up to this point, are really thought to be disposable. But more than that, the Romulans, baby! Let me tell you, anybody who knows me and knows my love for Star Trek knows that the Romulans are my favorite race. I love their looks. I love their ship's cloak. Romulans just exude a whole sense of cool to me that I absolutely love. I mean, it's just crazy how excited I am for this series. Also, interestingly enough, this series takes place in 2266, which, I'm going to be my Star Trek nerd here, which is the same year that Kirk is going to go up against his own Romulan commander in the episode Balance of Terror. So I'm wondering, because we're told in that episode that's the first time that Starfleet has seen a Romulan face to face. So I'm wondering if this is the same one that Kirk goes up against, or is this somehow later? But I'm sure they'll answer that later on. Let me know what you think in the video. Do you think that Romulan commander that we see at the end is related in some way to the one that Kirk goes up against in Balance of Terror? If you like this video, please subscribe, click the bell to get notified whenever we drop next. And until next time, live long and prosper, nerds.